I confess that my breakdown between your mother and I has caused emotional unbalance in the family.
Most of the time, I don't like my family. My sister Tracy is the one who said to me, Toni, when you make it, you can help us come on. So I always try to abide that. But the responsibility of it is so heavy for me. I feel like I can never live my life, and I never used to say it. I never used to say anything to anybody, everyone in my family.
Take a breath.
Everybody. I feel like I'm angry at everybody in my family. I don't like my family. If they weren't my family, it wouldn't be my friends.
I mean, they have love.
The cameras weren't rolling this time, but the drama unfolding around the Braxton family feels straight out of a reality show no producer could script. It started quietly, with one emotional TikTok that had the internet stopping mid-scroll. A young woman, tearful yet composed, claimed to be connected to one of America's most famous R&B dynasties, and what she revealed has left fans speechless. According to her, there are dark secrets behind the glamour of the Braxton name secrets involving betrayal, silence, and pain that never made it onto television. And just when everyone thought it was nothing more than social media noise, a few familiar faces, former husbands of the Braxton sisters, suddenly began speaking out to dot rumors of family tension. Aren't new to this household, but this time the stakes feel different. People online are asking, is this finally the truth, or another storm of speculation? Emotions are high. The family's reputation is once again in question, and what was meant to stay private is being dissected in real time. Insiders are calling it the biggest Braxton bombshell since their reality show days. So what really happened behind the scenes, and why are ex-husbands now stepping forward after years of silence? Let's break it down, because this story is messier than anyone imagined. It all began with a single post that seemed innocent enough. A quiet video uploaded late at night, no flashy filters. No background music, just a young woman sitting in dim light. Her voice trembling as she said she needed to finally speak her truth. Viewers didn't know what to expect until she mentioned one name, the Braxtons. The comment section exploded instantly. People were confused at first, thinking it was just another fan story, until she mentioned that she was related to them by blood. That was when the internet froze. She introduced herself as Ashley, the niece of one of the famous Braxton sisters. And what she shared next set off a storm that no one could stop. Ashley said she wasn't looking for fame or attention. She said she was simply tired of the silence that had been haunting her family for years. According to her, something deeply wrong had happened when she was 16, something that should never have been buried. Her tone wasn't angry. It was tired, broken even. She described how she once loved family gatherings, how the laughter and singing used to make her feel safe, until the day that trust shattered. She claimed that one of her aunt's husbands crossed serious boundaries, leaving her confused and terrified. When she finally told the family, she expected comfort. Instead, she said she was blamed, isolated, and treated like a problem they needed to erase. Fans were stunned. Comments flooded in with words like, "Stay strong and we believe you," while others begged her to take it down before things got worse. But the video stayed up, and within hours, it spread across every platform. Entertainment blogs began covering it, and suddenly, the name Ashley Braxton was trending everywhere. Insiders started whispering that this wasn't the first time the family had faced internal turmoil. Some fans pointed out that the Braxton sisters had always hinted at emotional tension beneath the surface. Old interviews resurfaced where they spoke about trust issues, money problems, and rivalry. But no one expected it to go this far. The most shocking part was when Ashley claimed her own father, Mikey, had sent her a legal notice telling her to stop talking publicly. She said that the letter accused her of defamation, but she insisted everything she said was her personal truth. The heartbreak in her voice was unmistakable when she said, My own father chose his pride over my pain. That line hit millions of people like a punch. Clips of it were shared everywhere, often with sad music or reaction videos of people tearing up. And yet, through it all, the Braxton family stayed silent. No public statements, no posts, no comments, just silence. Then came the twist that made the story explode even further. Out of nowhere, Carrie Lewis, Toni Braxton's ex-husband, appeared on a podcast. He didn't mention Ashley directly, but his words hinted at something deeper. Sometimes families hide more than what you see on television, he said quietly. What people think is love can sometimes be control. Fans immediately connected the dots. Was he referring to the same tension Ashley mentioned? When the interviewer pressed him for details, Carrie only said, "I've seen enough to understand why some people break down in silence." That one sentence was enough to set social media on fire. Within days, another familiar voice joined the conversation: Andre Carter, Towanda's ex-husband. He didn't hold back. During a live stream, he said he had nothing left to lose and was done pretending. "People think the Braxton sisters are all about sisterhood and love," he said, shaking his head. "But what I saw was power plays, favoritism, and manipulation. There's a reason everyone around them ends up hurt." Viewers could feel the bitterness in his tone. He claimed that behind the glamorous appearances, there was a pattern of emotional games where some sisters were treated like stars and others like shadows. "I'm not saying they're bad people," he added, "but fame changes you." And in that house, love started to feel like competition. It was messy, emotional, and exactly the kind of chaos that audiences couldn't look away from. Every entertainment outlet picked it up. Suddenly, fans
Voice of our eyes.
Well, Tamar, you had me thinking I was crazy too. I see, it felt like a surviving Tamar moment. They always talk about how, women is being mentally abused and physically abused. Men get mentally and physically abused too. Cause she socked me in my jaw before. You feel me? And I'm sure Jeremy and who, or before, and got their head cracked. Okay? And them gas station pills.
Reports and old interview clips are circulating again. And fans are shocked by what they think they reveal about the Braxton dynasty. Whispers of broken trust, late-night phone calls, and exes hinting at what they claim they saw when the cameras stopped. We are not saying any of this is proven. We're covering the chatter, the claims, and the reactions that have set social feeds on fire. According to The Buzz, emotions ran high. The family was left divided, and long-buried grievances allegedly resurfaced in the loudest way possible. One side insists it's selective memory. The other says it's overdue truth. In the middle, a legacy built on harmony now echoing with accusation. Tell them everything, an off-screen
were diving into old Braxton family values clips, looking for signs: awkward glances, uncomfortable silences, anything that matched the new narrative. One moment that resurfaced was an old scene where Toni broke down crying, saying she felt trapped by responsibility. "My sister Tracy said to me, 'Toni, when you make it, you can help us.' And I tried, but it was too heavy. I felt like I could never live my life." That line, once seen as touching, now felt loaded with hidden meaning. People began to speculate that the weight she carried wasn't just financial, it was emotional. Some fans wondered if Toni's success had unintentionally created an unspoken hierarchy among the sisters, feeding jealousy and resentment that never truly healed. There were even theories that Tamar, the youngest and most outspoken, was caught in the middle, torn between loyalty to her family and sympathy for those hurt along the way. Then another unexpected moment took things further. During a live session with fans, Tamar was asked directly if she had spoken to Ashley. She paused, smiled sadly, and said, "Sometimes the only person who understands your pain is someone who's lived it too." She didn't say more, but that single sentence set the internet ablaze. Fans flooded her comments with support, calling her brave for indirectly showing compassion. Others accused her of stirring drama. But what everyone agreed on was that this was no longer just gossip, had become an emotional reckoning that reached every corner of the Braxton family's history. The next few days were chaos online. Bloggers posted timelines of the family's controversies, from old rivalries to public arguments, framing them as evidence that something deeper had always been wrong. Analysts called it the unraveling of a dynasty built on silence. Fans debated endlessly. Some said Ashley was brave for speaking out, while others felt she was airing family business that should have stayed private. Meanwhile, the ex-husbands kept adding fuel to the fire. Andre claimed that the sisters' fights off-camera were 10 times worse than what viewers saw. He said there were nights when shouting could be heard down the street. People think reality TV exaggerated things, but honestly, it didn't even scratch the surface. Then came whispers about the family matriarch, Evelyn Braxton. For years, she had been seen as the glue that held everything together, the strong, old-school mother who raised talented daughters through hardship. But now, new speculation painted a different picture. People began asking whether her strict parenting style had created emotional distance instead of unity. Former acquaintances of the family started speaking out anonymously, describing Evelyn as a perfectionist who didn't tolerate weakness. While there's no way to confirm those claims, the narrative caught on quickly. The internet doesn't wait for proof. It builds its own truths. Throughout all of this, Toni remained silent. She didn't post, didn't comment, didn't acknowledge the storm. Fans debated whether her silence meant guilt or...
If anyone says anything, please let it be known and let it be clear that as I am in this journey and in this process, and as I'm healing and like trying to understand all of this stuff, that it feels really good to have
Scott.
Evelyn as a perfectionist who didn't tolerate weakness. While there's no way to confirm those claims, the narrative caught on quickly. The internet doesn't wait for proof. It builds its own truths. Throughout all of this, Toni remained silent. She didn't post, didn't comment, didn't acknowledge the storm. Fans debated whether her silence meant guilt or pain. Tamar, however, couldn't seem to stay out of the conversation entirely. She posted a cryptic quote on her story that read, "Truth doesn't destroy, families' lies do." The timing couldn't have been more explosive. Blogs ran with it instantly, claiming it was directed at her sisters. The tension became almost cinematic. Everyone was waiting for the next move, for the family to break their silence or issue a statement. But no one did. Instead, more voices kept coming forward: old friends, backup singers, even a former crew member from their reality show, each with their own observations about the family dynamic. Some described constant competition and emotional strain. Others defended them, saying fame always amplifies personal problems. By now, fans weren't just following the story, they were living it, dissecting every frame of old interviews like detectives looking for clues. And in the middle of it all stood Ashley, whose original post had started the chaos. She hadn't said much since, but her quiet strength kept drawing people in. One of her follow-up messages simply said, "I didn't want to hurt anyone. I just wanted to stop hurting alone." That single line became a rallying cry for countless viewers who saw their own pain reflected in hers. Many said it wasn't just a Braxton story anymore. It was a story about what happens when silence protects image instead of truth. And yet, as days turned into weeks, no one from the Braxton family directly confirmed or denied anything. Speculation only grew, and the world kept watching, waiting for the next move from one of America's most famous musical families. As the days passed, the situation only got heavier. It wasn't just gossip anymore, it had turned into a full-blown cultural discussion. Talk shows picked it up, podcasts dissected every sentence, and fans flooded comment sections with theories that read like mini detective reports. Everyone wanted to know the same thing. Why was the Braxton family staying so quiet? Was it dignity, damage control, or something more complicated? A journalist from a popular entertainment outlet claimed that a close friend of the family had reached out anonymously, saying the Braxtons were in shock and deeply hurt by how far things had gone. According to this insider, some of the sisters felt betrayed, while others believed the truth needed to come out, even if it was painful. The friend described a tense atmosphere where phone calls turned into arguments, and private family chats were filled with accusations. They're not even on the same page about how to handle this, the source said. One wants to sue, one wants to forgive, and one just wants to forget. That quote spread like wildfire, sparking even more debate. Fans began assigning names to the roles, guessing which sister wanted what. Some thought Toni was the one trying to protect the family's image, while Tamar, known for wearing her heart on her sleeve, was more focused on emotional healing. Towanda and Trina, fans speculated, were caught somewhere in the middle. And while these were all unconfirmed guesses, the online frenzy made them feel real enough. A few nights later, another twist hit the headlines. A leaked audio clip began circulating, allegedly featuring one of the Braxton sisters venting to a close friend. The voice, though not verified, sounded eerily familiar to fans. "I'm tired of being blamed for everything," the woman said. "Nobody talks about what really goes on behind closed doors. They want me to be the villain because I speak up." Within minutes, the clip was everywhere. Fans slowed it down, analyzed tone, even compared it to old interviews to confirm who it might be. It became another chapter in the unfolding saga, and by now, everyone had an opinion. And then Carrie Lewis decided to speak again, this time more openly. Appearing on a live stream hosted by a popular gossip channel, he said, "Look, I'm not here to take sides, but I've seen a lot. People think success heals wounds, but sometimes it just buries them deeper." When asked if he believed Ashley's claims, he hesitated before saying, "I believe every family has a breaking point, and maybe this is theirs." He didn't accuse anyone directly, but his words carried weight. The comments section exploded. "He knows something," one viewer wrote. "He's saying it without saying it." Andre Carter wasn't far behind. In a separate interview, he shared more about his years with the Braxton family. "When I first came in, I thought I was joining a family of love and talent. But after a while, I realized it was like walking on eggshells. You couldn't say the wrong thing, or suddenly you were the enemy." He described moments when arguments would erupt during family dinners, sometimes over something as small as who got credit for a project. "There was always this invisible scoreboard," he said. "Who was more successful? Who got more praise? Who mom favored Merit was exhausting." His tone wasn't angry anymore, just sad. He said he didn't want to hurt anyone, but watching what was happening now felt like karma catching up. These comments pushed the public narrative into deeper territory. People stopped seeing it as a single incident and started viewing it as the unraveling of years of hidden pain. Entertainment analysts called it a generational wound, finally being exposed in real time. Throughout all this, Tamar continued to be the only sister showing glimpses of reaction online. She posted vague but emotional notes about forgiveness and inner peace. One day, she shared an image that read, "Sometimes breaking the silence breaks the chains." Fans instantly connected it to Ashley. Comments flooded in saying, "We see you," and she's the only one with empathy. Others, however, accused her of using the situation for attention, pointing to her history of dramatic public moments. Either way, the conversation kept growing. Meanwhile, older clips from the Braxton family's reality show were resurfacing, fueling the fire even more. Fans pointed to a tense reunion scene where Toni and Tamar exchanged sharp words about loyalty and support. Watching it now, people claim to see signs of long-held resentment. One viral comment said, "They weren't acting, they were just performing their real pain on camera." Then came a surprising twist that no one saw coming. A former producer from their reality show gave an exclusive interview, claiming that several emotional moments had been edited out to protect the family's image. There were scenes that could have changed how viewers saw everything, the producer said. But those clips never aired. They wanted to show conflict, sure, but not the kind that could ruin reputations. The statement reignited questions about how much of the Braxton story the world had truly seen. After that revelation, social media was relentless. Fans started campaigns urging the network to release the uncut footage. Hashtags like #ReleaseBraxton footage and #JusticeForAshley began trending. People wanted to see the truth for themselves. Others criticized the movement, arguing that it was exploiting trauma for entertainment. But regardless of sides, everyone agreed the Braxton legacy was being redefined before their eyes. And then, just as things seemed to be reaching a boiling point, something unexpected happened. A post appeared on an unverified account claiming to be from someone close to Ashley. It read, "She never wanted this much attention. She just wanted acknowledgement." The message was short, but it hit hard. For a brief moment, the noise online slowed down. People began to reflect on how the story had spiraled from a cry for help into a spectacle. Yet even that reflection couldn't last long, because within 24 hours, more rumors began circulating, new statements from other ex-partners. One of them allegedly hinted that there were letters, messages, even audio files saved from the past that could explain everything. The internet went into full investigation mode. Fan pages began archiving every piece of Braxton-related content, from interviews to live appearances, searching for clues. Every raised eyebrow, every tear, every awkward silence was suddenly treated as evidence. Meanwhile, behind the scenes, reports said the Braxton sisters had stopped speaking.
Let him say something nice about me?
Do you think you've been the same exact person?
He does.
No, I'm asking you. Do you think that you've been
I know
the same?
I'm saying.
I'm asking, do you think that
I'm
you've
answering.
been...
I
Okay,
have been
answer
the same
that.
OT.
So
Toni,
you
you're
are.
not my authority.
So you are.
Nor am I afraid of you. So don't talk to me like.
Apparently, the sisters were communicating only through their mother, who was desperately trying to mediate. Evelyn herself hadn't spoken publicly, but her presence was felt in every whisper. People speculated that she was the one urging the family to keep quiet, hoping the storm would pass. Others believed she was angry furious that family matters had become public again. But no one could say for sure then. One evening, a video surfaced that changed the tone of everything. It wasn't new. Was an old clip of Toni.
Except for one thing, he's not out selling any of his books, which means I have to take care of the household because he is not bringing any money in.
I don't like some of the things you do, Truth. Basically, I feel like I married my mother. And you know, I didn't like my mother. I loved her to death.
Performing live, breaking down mid-song, her voice trembling as she sang through tears. At the time, fans thought it was just emotion. Now, the clip was being replayed everywhere, with captions like, "Did we miss the signs?" The performance, once admired for its vulnerability, became symbolic of everything the family was going through. Teen disguised as art, through it all. One thing became clear. Whatever was happening inside the Braxton family wasn't simple. It wasn't just about rumors or who said what. It was about years of pressure, expectation, and unspoken wounds. Fans began expressing concern instead of just curiosity. They need therapy, not interviews, one comment read. This is bigger than fame. Yet others couldn't look away. The spectacle had become too powerful, too addictive. Like watching history unravel in real time as the online storm reached its peak. Everyone waited for anyone from the family to finally break the silence officially. And just when it felt like the world couldn't handle another twist, something new appeared on social media that made everyone's jaw drop. The new post appeared in the middle of the night. No caption. No context, just a black background with a single sentence written in white letters. It read, "Truth doesn't need permission." Within seconds, people began to guess who it came from. The account handle was private, but some claimed it matched one previously linked to one of the Braxton sisters. Others believed it was someone close to the family trying to send a message. Whatever the case, it reignited the flames instantly. Fans flooded timelines, reposting screenshots, writing theories, and tagging every Braxton they could find. By morning, it was everywhere. And then came the moment everyone had been waiting for. Tamar finally spoke publicly. During a live stream that had over 500,000 viewers, she said, "I don't know what's true. I don't know what's exaggerated. But what I do know is that families break when people stop listening." Her voice was calm, but her eyes told a different story: exhaustion. Pain and frustration all mixed together. She continued, "We're all human. We've all made mistakes, but this isn't the way." Her words hit hard. Some saw them as a call for peace, others as an indirect confession that things inside the family weren't as perfect as they'd seemed. Almost immediately, reactions split down the middle. Half of the internet praised her for showing empathy, while the other half accused her of dodging accountability. Why not just admit what happened? One comment said, "If it's not true, then say it's not true." The emotional tension was palpable. Even other celebrities started chiming in, some offering prayers, others subtly throwing shade. A well-known R&B singer tweeted, "It's always the families with the prettiest harmonies that have the darkest secrets." And fans were convinced it was a reference to the Braxtons. The next day, a new voice entered the storm: Trina Braxton's ex-husband, Gabe. Although he had passed away years earlier, an old interview clip resurfaced where he hinted at tension between the sisters. In it, he said, "When cameras are off, the tone changes. One minute they're sisters, the next minute it's like business partners fighting for territory." Fans rewatched that clip over and over, quoting it like prophecy. One fan wrote, "Gabe warned us. We just didn't understand what he meant back then. It was eerie how past moments suddenly gained new meaning in the present then." As if fate wanted to add more fuel, another leak surfaced, this time. Allegedly screenshots of text messages exchanged years ago between some family members. Again, no confirmation of authenticity, but the content felt raw. The messages showed arguments about loyalty, money, and image control. One text read, "We can't keep letting people destroy what we built. If she talks, everything collapses." Another said, "I told you, silence is the only way." The tone was cold, strategic. Fans speculated endlessly over who wrote what, connecting dots that may not have even existed. The media machine went into overdrive. Talk shows debated whether this was a family breaking apart or simply a series of misunderstandings amplified by fame. Experts on trauma and celebrity culture were invited to comment. One psychologist said, "What we're seeing isn't unique, it's just magnified by fame." This is what happens when personal healing becomes public entertainment. The statement went viral. People began discussing not just the Braxtons, but the cost of keeping up appearances. The story was no longer just about one family. It had become a reflection of how many people bury pain to protect reputation. Meanwhile, fans started noticing something strange. All of the Braxton sisters had stopped posting family pictures. Even birthday posts, which were once routine, had disappeared. People took it as a sign that the tension wasn't just online, It had seeped into their real lives. Rumors spread that the sisters were no longer speaking directly, communicating only through lawyers and intermediaries. One entertainment journalist even claimed that a family meeting had been arranged at a private location, with mediators present to try and end the feud. And then came another emotional twist. Ashley, whose video had started it all, reappeared online after weeks of silence. She didn't say much. Her new video was short, just her sitting in the same quiet room, tears streaming down her face. "I didn't want this," she whispered. "I just wanted to be heard." She didn't name anyone, didn't defend herself against the backlash. She just spoke softly about wanting peace. Viewers described the clip as haunting. One comment summed it up perfectly. "You can tell she's not lying or acting, she's just tired." But the calm didn't last long. A few hours later, Andre Carter returned to social media again, this time dropping what he called proof. In a cryptic video, he showed what looked like old voicemails and fragments of emails, claiming they were from the early days of the family's reality show production. "They knew how deep this went," he said. "They just didn't want the world to see it." His words sent shockwaves through the fan base. Blogs and gossip channels immediately began dissecting the footage, some calling it a bombshell, others dismissing it as attention-seeking. Regardless, the buzz was unstoppable. Then, unexpectedly, a former bodyguard who had worked with the family years ago decided to share his perspective in an interview. "I saw them at their best and worst," he said. "Those girls loved each other, but there was always tension, like one spark away from an explosion. You could feel it in the room." When asked if he believed the new allegations, he sighed. "I don't know what's true, but I do know pain when I see it. And there's a lot of pain in that family." The quote became the headline across several entertainment sites the next morning. By now, the story had reached a global audience. Even international tabloids were picking it up, translating every update into new languages. Clips of the Braxton sisters' performances started trending again, this time under hashtags like #BraxtonTruth and #BehindTheSmiles. It was surreal. Decades of music, love, and legacy were now being viewed through the lens of controversy. But amid all the chaos, one unexpected voice decided to speak: Mama Evelyn herself. A respected radio host announced that she had received a private message from Evelyn's representative, stating, "Mrs. Braxton loves all her children deeply and asks the public to respect their privacy during this difficult time." Short, formal, but powerful. Still, people couldn't help but read between the lines. Was she confirming the family was in turmoil? Was she protecting someone? Or was it simply a plea to make the noise stop? For a few days, the drama seemed to quiet down, but tension lingered in the air. People could sense something bigger was coming, something that would either bring closure or break everything beyond repair. And they weren't wrong. A few nights later, a mysterious video began circulating. Grainy, low quality, clearly filmed years ago. It showed several of the sisters arguing backstage during a concert rehearsal. The sound was muffled, but a few words were clear. "You think you're better than us?" one voice shouted. "I'm tired of being blamed for your choices," another replied. It was raw, emotional, and devastatingly human. Fans reacted with disbelief. "This is what real pain looks like," one wrote. They've been fighting ghosts for years. Even people who had never followed the Braxtons before were now drawn in, fascinated by how fame, family, and silence could collide so explosively and still. Through all of this, one truth stood out. No one, not even those closest to the family, really knew where the truth began and the rumors ended. But everyone could feel that something inside that legendary family had changed. Forever, the tension had reached a point where even silence felt loud. Every news outlet, every gossip page, every fan blog was circling the same question. Would the Braxtons ever speak as one family again? Or was this the end of the sisterhood that had once defined R&B unity? The answer, as it turned out, wasn't simple. Because behind the scenes, what was happening was less like a feud and more like a reckoning. The sisters were finally confronting decades of unspoken emotions, and this time, nothing was being sugarcoated. Sources close to the family began hinting that a private meeting had taken place at a secluded estate just outside Atlanta. No cameras, no producers, no assistants, just the family. The idea was to talk, really talk, for the first time in years. According to one insider, the atmosphere was tense from the moment they arrived. Toni kept her sunglasses on the entire time. Tamar's arms were crossed tight across her chest, and Trina could barely make eye contact with anyone. Even Mama Evelyn, usually the loudest voice in the room, sat quietly for most of it. The meeting reportedly began with a simple question: where do we go from here? But that single question unraveled into hours of pent-up frustration. Tamar allegedly spoke first, her voice breaking as she said, "We've been pretending for too long. Pretending to be fine. Pretending to love each other. Pretending that fame didn't change us." Her words stunned the room. She turned toward her mother and added, "I love you, but you taught us to survive, not to feel." Witnesses said the room went still after that. Evelyn looked hurt, but didn't interrupt. Then it was Toni's turn. She took off her glasses and finally spoke. "I did what I had to do. When Dad left, somebody had to hold it together. I didn't want to be the parent, but someone had to step up." Her voice trembled. "I carried all of you emotionally, financially, everything, and I never complained. But I'm tired of being the strong one." Tamar's eyes softened. "You didn't have to do it alone," she whispered. "We just didn't know how to help." The tension cracked slightly. For the first time, it wasn't about who was right or wrong. It was about hurt people admitting they were all broken in their own way. It wasn't all healing and hugs. Towanda reportedly confronted Toni and Tamar, accusing them of looking down on the rest of the sisters. "You talk about love, but love doesn't make people feel small," she said, her voice sharp. Trina backed her up quietly, saying, "We all played a part in building this name. But sometimes it felt like we were just extras in your story." Toni didn't argue. Instead, she sighed and said, "Maybe we all forgot that this was supposed to be about music, not image." And then, unexpectedly, Mama Evelyn spoke. Her words were calm but heavy. "You girls are my heart," she said softly, "but I'm not perfect. I was angry for a long time. Angry at your father, angry at life. Maybe that anger became the way I raised you. Maybe that's my sin." Her confession reportedly brought the room to tears. For the first time, the matriarch admitted what everyone had suspected, that her strength came with a price. And that price had been emotional distance. The meeting ended without full resolution. But it was the first time in years that they had all sat in one room and listened to each other. According to people who later spoke about it, there were tears, apologies, even laughter in brief moments. They weren't magically healed, but they had taken the first step toward something real, not a reality show version of forgiveness, but something honest. Meanwhile, outside that private room, the world continued to buzz. The leaked clips, the interviews, the speculation, all of it had painted a vivid picture of dysfunction. But now, people began to realize there was another side to the story, one of survival. Of a family that had been under the spotlight for decades, trying to balance love and legacy. Fans who had once been hungry for gossip began posting messages of empathy instead. One viral tweet said, "The Braxtons aren't villains. They're just proof that fame doesn't heal trauma, it hides it." A few days later, Tamar posted a new message on her social media that read, "Healing isn't pretty, but it's real." Underneath, she added a heart emoji and tagged her sisters. It wasn't much, but for the fans, it was enough to spark hope. The comment section filled with love and relief. Even Toni broke her silence shortly after, posting a clip of her performing one of her old songs. This time changing the lyrics slightly to say, "We're learning to love again." People cried watching it. It felt like the first glimpse of peace after months of chaos. Still, not everyone believed the calm would last. Entertainment analysts pointed out that the Braxton family had weathered storms before, only for the same patterns to resurface. "They love hard, but they fight harder," one journalist said. This may be a truce, not a transformation. Others believed it marked the beginning of a new chapter. The network that once aired their show even hinted at a possible reunion special, not about fame or success, but about reconciliation. As for Ashley, she remained quiet, but her silence now felt different. People close to her claimed she had received private apologies and that the family had reached out to her directly. One fan captured the public sentiment perfectly. She didn't destroy them. She forced them to confront what was already broken. Whether true or not, it symbolized how one voice could shift an entire legacy by the end of the month. Interviews, think pieces, and documentaries had turned the saga into a cultural moment. People were no longer asking who was right or wrong. They were asking what lessons could be learned. One headline read, "The Braxtons and the Cost of Generational Silence," while another said, "From harmony to healing, the family that taught us what forgiveness looks like." And through it all, something remarkable happened. The fans, once divided, came together too. Instead of arguing, they began celebrating the Braxton sisters' music again, revisiting their songs not for scandal, but for comfort. "Breathe Again" started trending, with listeners saying it now held a whole new meaning in the end. Whether the family truly made peace or simply paused their feud didn't matter as much as what it represented. The Braxton family had lived, loved, and hurt under the public eye. And somehow, after everything, the tears, the betrayal, the silence, they were still standing. Maybe not perfectly, maybe not forever, but standing nonetheless. The story that began as a bombshell had turned into a mirror, showing everyone that behind the lights, the fame, and the music, there are people trying to heal, one conversation at a time. And as one fan wrote under their latest post, "Families break, but sometimes breaking is how the light finally gets in." So what do you think? After everything that's come out, the interviews, the silence, the apologies, do you believe the Braxton family can truly find peace, or has too much damage already been done? This story has shaken fans everywhere, reminding us that even the most famous families can carry the deepest scars. If you made it this far, we want to hear from you. Drop your thoughts down below. Whose side are you on? Do you think Ashley's story will bring healing or more heartbreak? And what do you think the sisters should do next? Your opinion matters, and we read every single comment. Make sure to hit that like button if you're as invested in this family saga as we are. Share this video with someone who's been following the Braxton drama since day one. And don't forget to subscribe for more deep dives into the biggest celebrity stories shaking the culture. We've got more explosive updates, shocking revelations, and emotional breakdowns coming your way, so stay tuned. Because when it comes to Hollywood's most complicated families, the truth is never simple, and the story is never really over. Tap the next video on your screen to keep watching. Trust me, you don't want to miss what's coming next.